people? Welcome back to the channel. I know this is really early, this is kind of weird, but I did have this conversation with my friends over when we were having dinner a couple of days ago, and I've kind of, I kind of just, bounce a couple ideas back and forth, like, off them, but I've also gave it a, I've gave it like a small kind of overview on kind of what cards kind of need to go on this upcoming ban list. To be honest, Konami could do a whole bunch of different things. They obviously are going to want to hit, they're going to want to make some big hits, but they're also going to want to sell key product. But we do get big ban lists after we get our mega tins, and well, this time it's like collector tins. But I don't want to go on too long. If you like what we do, please feel free to like and subscribe. If not, it is all cool. We're trying to get the channel to 5,000 subscribers, so to promote the channel, we are trying to put a video every single day, so that we get the word out. Please help us get there. Once we get to 500 subscribers, I do plan on doing a big TCG player gift card giveaway, and yeah, so when we get closer to that goal, we'll go ahead and talk about how much that card is going to be. So let's go and get into it, starting with Eradicator Epidemic Virus. This is just kind of self-explanatory on why this card needs to go. Not only is Labyrinth the main deck that kind of uses this card, that is going to get more support, and and the support looks extremely broken. A lot of decks, like I explained in another video, are just able to naturally go through their combo and end up with a dark monster with 2500 or more attack that they wouldn't mind using to get rid of stuff. So a lot of decks can not only just side it and then use it to kind of create an unfair game state. You got Labyrinth that could cleanly abuse it. So Eradicator really is a card that kind of needs to go. And I don't want to put too many hits to the Visa Starfrost deck, the Manadome, because that's probably going to be one of the more flagship decks going into the next Yu-Gi-Oh season. They just got support in the in the Duelist Nexus, so I really don't think they're just gonna really hit it outright, but I do think they're gonna want to get rid of something like this, kind of like the same kind of reason why you want to get rid of a card like Eradicator Epidemic Virus. This card, this card in conjunction, I believe, with Crimson Dragon, just creates some really unfair just turning off your opponent's turn, and it's probably going to be legal for a bit, and that's probably going to be something that you're going to want to watch out for. So kind of just understand this is going to be, potentially is going to be something in the meta. It does require a lot of work, but I think Crimson Dragon does kind of really make it a way easier. So I wouldn't be surprised if they get rid of this card, just just so you're not just so you're not skipping your opponent's turn. Like, Yu-Gi-Oh is already crazy as it is. I don't, they do not want turn skips. And then the last card that I wanted to put on the, cards I need to ban. Like I said, this is just a quick overview. This is not set in stone. I'm gonna do another video getting closer to when the ban list kind of should be coming out, maybe after the tins, to kind of see what's going on. But I really do feel like Kashtira Riceheart is another card to where Kashtira, I think, is kind of like Chair Elements, to where you need to give it some big hits to make sure the deck kind of stays down. Like pretty much like the way it is. Tier Elements is still a playable deck. It is still a rogue option. It still has these combo lines, and if you're someone who's willing to find them or willing to try to play that strategy, you can play the deck. It is a little bricky sometimes, but at the same time, there is a lot of ways to kind of get it going. I kind of feel the same thing with Kashtira, to where if you leave too much of it there, then it's still gonna be good. Like, Kashtira Riceheart having its effect and just being a walking macrocosmos is extremely oppressive. So I very much feel like Kashtira Riceheart, just straight up banning Kashtira Riceheart, just so that, because it's pretty much, I'm not trying to say we need to ban it because it's too good and there's no one who could deal with it. There's outs to it, but we need to ban it. Well, they probably gonna want to ban it because people will just gravitate towards that deck. As long as Kashtira Riceheart is still is in the meta, and there's also if they leave enough of Kashtira, so they can get rid of other Kashtira cards like I might bring up. They get rid of those, maybe the deck might get weaker. But I kind of feel like if there's enough Kashtira cards to kind of go into on a Riceheart set 3 or 4 pass, they will probably want to play something like that because that's still extremely powerful. That's still a pretty good deck. I'll get a pretty good play. Alright, Runic Tip. This is so now for now on, I'm gonna talk about cards that I feel like they're probably gonna want to put to 1. I don't think they're gonna want to necessarily kill the Runic strategy, because I'm not sure if it's gonna be Tip or if it's gonna be Fountain. If they put Fountain to 1, then that really does hurt it. But I really can see them putting tip to 1 as well. The reason why I could see them putting tip to 1 as well is because Runic has evolved from this cheesy win con stall strategy to instant fusions combined, like pretty much instant fusion slash hand traps slash extenders. Like they essentially become like a instant fusion when you just need a Runic monster to get its certain effect out. It's a hand trap when you have the if you have the quick play. I mean the quick play. If you have the field spell, you gotta get the quick plays from your hand, so they become hand traps. They all have very good effects. And then it becomes an extender because a lot of decks, essentially kind of will use like the Yugioh to get its effect, and then kind of use, depending on what decks mean using it, will use it to combo off in different ways. Like the for hires will send it with the, like with the rookie, and then the sprite will just summon a level 2 on, with that monster being on the board, kind of perfectly goes into the combo. So, and I don't say they're gonna kill the Runic strategy, because like they're not just gonna I don't think they're gonna straight up ban tip or ban fountain, but I can see them putting both of them to 1, because if you have both of these at 1, then it really brings down the it's kind of dumb. I've said this a million times, but it brings down like the consistency and the playability, because once you get rid of the fountain, then it's essentially gone if it's banished. And then once you use the tip, they pretty much they have to put it back in, and there's no really searching it again. And it really hurts the consistency, to where one of the main reasons why this deck is so good is because you're able to do all that stuff, and then if you top deck Runic tip, you're able to go into anything. It doesn't matter what your opponent plays, you go into anything as long as you can resolve Runic tips. So having less Runic tips and less Runic fountains would be a good way to not only just kill kind of the Runic stall strategies, to kind of curve that, but also to curve the engines. I really think it's them running it with a different height, the different top tier engines that really made Runic really powerful. I hope that they they limit this to 1, maybe this to 2, or hopefully leave it alone, so that way I could still kind of run it in the next format. But I kind of feel like the Runic's time is done. It's been here for a while, and it's probably time to go. Kashtira Fenrir. Earlier I talked about banning a Rise Heart. To be honest, if they get rid of enough Kashtira cards and kind of make it less consistent of a deck, then they don't need to banish the Rise Heart. I'm just saying, if they want to keep, they want to keep the field spell and Theosis, and they want to keep the Unicorn, they want to keep everything, then okay, maybe get rid of a Rise Heart, because people will still gravitate towards that deck. It'll be good. But Kashtira Fenrir being limited to 1 is he's probably going to get the Pankratops treatment, to where it's good. It's I was about to say it's good in its own deck. Pankratops was the best card of its deck, of its archetype. Its archetype was horrible, but it is essentially good. Fenrir is good in its own deck, and is also good in other decks as a way to break boards, or just as a really good special summon monster. And that's kind of what reason why Pankratops had to get limited to 1, because everyone would just put 3 in their side deck or 3 in their main deck, and it would be going second or whatever they gotta do. They should be able to break boards. So Fenrir might get the Pankratops treatment. I could see them doing that, or if not, at least bring Pankratops back. Kashtira Unicorn. I could see them bringing Kashtira Unicorn down. It's already at 2. So yeah, it's already at 2. But then again, it's still a really good deck. So I get like I said, I'm not saying they have to, but bringing down Kashtira Unicorn, bringing this to 1, Fenrir to 1, maybe even Theosis and all that's, one of those to 1, or that would be a really good way to kind of slow the deck down, so that way at least it's not as oppressive, especially if you want to sell more stuff. Because if this is still the best deck, and you're going to release combo decks and graveyard focus decks, and you can still run Walking Talking Macrocosmo, then you're just going to run Walking Talking Macrocosmo. That's like a no-brainer sometimes. Sprite Blue. So I have Sprite Blue, but Sprite's going to represent a couple different cards here. It could be Starter, it could be Blue, or it could be Jet. I feel like they're going to bring one of them to 1, maybe even both, or maybe even limit Sprite Blue to 2 and Jet to 2, to kind of keep it as a playable, still a playable option. Sprite is still a very good engine, still a good deck. I know right now the most popular version is the Runic for hire Sprite. That's kind of the more the better ways to play it. But it is still powerful just on its own. Like there's, if you look at, you know, deck profiles and combo videos, these things can very much combo off. And if you play a pure sprite deck and you don't know how, like, the exact choke points, then they're able just to spit out monsters and end on their board no matter what you do to them. So I really see, if, you know, like I said, Konami wants to promote newer strategies and different combo decks and kind of get us out of like the older stuff, then they're gonna probably want to like limit Sprite Blue to 1, maybe limit Sprite Jet to 1, maybe bring them both to 2 or both to 1. I am not 100% sure, but like I said, something with Sprite Blue. Probably, most likely, I'm calling Sprite Blue to 1 for this early list. And then the last card I want to talk about, like I said, this is just the early prediction. This is like I'm probably gonna call it something like the unwanted and way too early balanced prediction. But Bystial Magnum, and also go ahead and add Jewish Worm into that mix. I believe bringing them down to 1 would be it would just make sense. Like, the OCG knows how powerful these cards are. I think they're on their list, and I don't think Dragon League needs a direct hit. Like you don't need a hit in any of like the extra deck cards or any of the rockets or anything like that. You could still have that. The deck has already gotten a lot of hits, so it's fine. It's the Bystials becoming a walking DD Crow that gets them either extra cards or interrupts depending on what happens. So yeah, I don't know. For me, I just feel like bringing the Bystials down to like 1 to kind of like force them, if you want to run the Bystials as like combo pieces and just, you know, as semi interruptions, and you have to run the kind of like the ones that aren't, you know, that aren't really the best, and only have 1 copies of the 2 better ones. That's because like there are the Bystials you could run that'll still banish from the graveyard to kind of serve the interruption purpose and kind of have iffy effects, but still I think it's being able to search in a Dragon League deck and then having the Jewish Worm interruption that really made that deck kind of like go to the next level and kind of made it to where it's one of like the top decks right now in this current format. Alright guys, that's it for the video. I know this was, like I said, this was kind of like, you know, like random something. Like I said, I just had this conversation. I want to turn it into a video to get at Monsters Revenge, so I'm going to go ahead and put them side by side and head to head to see which one is better. Alright guys, so peace out. Catch you in the next one.